The courtroom exploded the moment it began. Tyler, who thought he ruled the world, stood in front of Judge Judy and shouted, "You're a monkey!" The entire room froze. The audience stopped breathing. Miguel stared at the floor, and the bailiff stepped forward instantly. But Judge Judy? She didn't flinch, not even a blink. She just gave one slow, lethal stare, and the color drained from Tyler's face. In today's video, you'll witness the exact moment Judge Judy shut this bully down so brutally, and you'll be shocked to see how strictly Judge Judy punished him. The ending will leave you speechless. But before we dive in, tell me, where are you watching from? Don't forget the subscribe button. The camera catches everything, his arms stretched wide across the back of the chair, his boots tapping like a taunt, and that insufferable half-grin twisting at the corner of his mouth. The audience murmurs, a low ripple like the warning roll of distant thunder. Even the bailiff angles his body forward, sensing trouble before a single word is spoken. Judge Judy lifts her eyes from the file, her expression carved in stone. She doesn't need to speak. Her silence alone tightens the air. But Tyler mistakes quiet for weakness. He tilts his chin up like he's about to negotiate the price of a used car instead of standing before one of the sharpest arbiters on television. Miguel Torres, the plaintiff, sits small but steady at his table. His hands rest on a stack of papers, edges slightly curled from how tightly he's been holding them. He glances at Tyler, then quickly looks away, an instinctive flinch that Judy doesn't miss. Her eyes flick to him. Then back to Tyler, calculating. "Let's begin," she says, voice crisp. Miguel opens his mouth, but Tyler jumps in first. "Yeah, I'd love to start, 'cause honestly, this whole thing is stupid." Judy raises one finger, just one. Tyler goes silent mid-breath. "You speak when spoken to," she says. "That's how court works?" A little laugh escapes Tyler's throat, not loud, but loud enough. The camera zooms subtly, catching the faint twitch of Miguel's jaw. He's heard that laugh before, and it never meant anything good. Judge Judy turns to Miguel. "Tell me why we're here." Miguel tries again. His voice is steady, but there's a tightness beneath it. "Your Honor, Tyler, Mr. Briggs damaged my car. Tyler scoffs, not even trying to hide it this time. The sound slices across the courtroom like a thrown stone. Judy doesn't look at him yet, not fully, but the angle of her chin changes, as if she's marking every disrespectful tick. Miguel continues. "He broke the side mirror during an argument outside our apartment building. Then he refused to pay for the repair." "That's because I didn't do anything wrong," Tyler fires back, leaning forward. He's exaggerating, like always. "Mr. Briggs," Judy cuts in, voice now edged with steel, "I didn't ask for your opinion yet." Her tone freezes him, but only for a second. His mouth curls again, and he mutters something under his breath, a low rumble meant for no one but himself. But the microphone catches it, and Judy hears it. The gavel doesn't strike, yet the room goes silent as if it had. She lifts her eyes slowly, deliberately. "Mr. Briggs," she says, "repeat what you just said." Tyler's smirk thins. Miguel's breath catches, and the entire courtroom waits, because the next words out of his mouth might change everything. The silence is thick enough to feel. Tyler's smirk falters for the first time. Judge Judy's stare pins him like a specimen under glass. The camera widens to capture the tension, every eye in the courtroom fixed on the defendant, who suddenly realizes he may have pushed the wrong person. Tyler shifts in his chair, boots no longer tapping. The swagger dims, replaced by a flicker of doubt. I didn't say anything," he mutters, tossing a glance at the audience as if they might bail him out. Judy doesn't blink. "Mr. Briggs, in this courtroom, you speak clearly. If you're going to disrespect me, you will do it at full volume." The air vibrates. Even the bailiff's posture sharpens. Miguel lowers his gaze, bracing himself. He's seen this look from Tyler before, the moment where bravado turns into venom, the moment before he gets cruel. Tyler drags a slow breath, eyes darting across the courtroom like an animal weighing escape routes. "I said—" He stops again. His jaw flexes. "I said, they really gave her a show." A gasp ripples across the room. Judy leans back just slightly, the measured calm of someone who carries power without needing to show it. "I see. Thank you for your honesty," Her tone is ice. Let's move on before you say something even more foolish. Tyler swallows, surprised she isn't erupting. But that's the thing about controlled authority. It doesn't need to shout to burn. Mr. Torres, she says, turning to Miguel, show me the documentation regarding the repairs. With a shaky exhale, Miguel hands a tidy packet of papers to the bailiff. Tyler rolls his eyes hard, like the whole courtroom is wasting his afternoon. It's not even real damage, he mutters. Guy's just milking it. Judy hears that too. She doesn't acknowledge it, yet. The bailiff places the packet on the bench. Judy flips through the pages briskly, each rustle of paper echoing like a warning. This is a professional repair invoice. You refuse to pay it? Yeah, Tyler answers, puffing up again. Because I'm not paying for something I didn't break. Miguel leans forward. Your Honor, he grabbed the mirror during the argument. He yanked it so hard it snapped. That's a lie, Tyler snaps immediately. He's always exaggerating, always playing the victim. Judy sets the papers down. Mr. Briggs, I've noticed you enjoy speaking over people. It's a habit you may want to break while you're still young enough to learn. The audience murmurs, a soft "oh" rising in the background. Tyler stiffens, his eyes narrow, fists clenching under the table. The swagger flickers again, replaced by something darker. Miguel hesitates, then adds, There's more, Your Honor. I also submitted an envelope with screenshots. Tyler's head whips toward him. You what? Judy lifts a brow. Screenshots of what, Mr. Torres? Of the messages he sent me afterward, Miguel says, voice quieter now. The ones where he joked about the damage and other things. Tyler's jaw tightens, hard. Judy motions to the bailiff. Bring me the envelope. The bailiff steps out of frame, leaving an echo of tension behind him. Tyler's shoulders rise with a slow inhale, like a man bracing for impact. Miguel avoids looking in his direction entirely, and as the bailiff returns with a sealed envelope, Tyler mutters, This is going to be a joke. But his eyes say something very different. The bailiff sets the sealed envelope on Judge Judy's bench like an unexploded device. Tyler's smirk is gone, replaced by a tight, twitching jaw. Miguel sits perfectly still, as if movement might provoke something. Judge Judy studies the envelope for a long, silent beat. The camera moves in close, catching the slight lift of her brow. Interest, suspicion, calculation. She taps the corner once with a fingernail. The sound echoes louder than it should. Mr. Torres, she says, you submitted this earlier? Miguel nods. Yes, Your Honor. And its contents are relevant to the damage? Miguel hesitates. Mostly. They show his attitude afterward. Judy glances over the frames of her glasses. Open attitude is often more revealing than open evidence. Then, deliberately, she breaks the seal. Tyler shifts, restless, agitated like he's watching his reputation teeter on a cliff. Those aren't real, he mutters quickly. He probably photoshopped them. Miguel flinches, not at the accusation, but at the tone. Judge Judy slides out a stack of printed screenshots. The top page is a message thread, blue and gray bubbles, timestamps, all unmistakably typical of a phone display. As she scans, her eyes tighten, her lips press into a straighter line. She reads aloud. Should have known better than to mess with me. Then another. Hope that car of yours was worth the lesson. Another. Maybe next time you won't talk back. The courtroom reacts instantly. Shock, low murmurs, shifting seats. Miguel swallows hard. Tyler's face colors with anger, embarrassment, or both. They're jokes, Tyler snaps. People joke like that. It wasn't serious. Mr. Briggs, Judy says, voice dangerously calm. Does this look like a joke to you? Yeah, he shoots back, chin lifting defiantly. You're just trying to twist everything I say. That's literally your whole thing. A quiet, sharp inhale ripples through the gallery. Judy straightens. Mr. Briggs, I don't twist words. I examine them. And these messages paint a very clear picture. Tyler scoffs. Whatever. Anybody can send fake texts. The timestamps match the night of the incident, Judy replies without looking up. Mr. Torres, were these messages sent immediately after the altercation? Yes, Your Honor. Judy turns a page. The next screenshot shows Tyler sending a winking emoji after the phrase, bet you can't afford to fix it anyway. Her tone cools another degree. So you damage his property, mock him, threaten he learn a lesson, and then humiliate him financially? Tyler leans back, arms crossing defensively. He deserved it. He's always acting like some saint in the building, like he's better than everyone. Miguel's jaw tenses, but he stays silent. Judy looks at him. Mr. Torres, why didn't you mention these earlier? Miguel lowers his eyes. Because I didn't want to make things worse. Judy's expression shifts, just slightly, into something sharper, more attentive. But before she can respond, Tyler leans forward, voice dripping with arrogance and mockery. Oh, come on, he's milking this, and you're just... He stops himself too late. You're just buying it because that's what you do here. The whole courtroom freezes. Judge Judy's head lifts an inch, her eyes slicing toward him like twin searchlights. Excuse me? Tyler exhales through his nose, smirking again. You heard me. The audience gasps. Miguel turns pale, and Judge Judy places the screenshots down with surgical precision, her voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Briggs, you've just made a very serious mistake. Judge Judy doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't have to. The chill in her silence is enough to make even the bailiff shift his stance. Tyler's smirk lingers for half a second longer, then collapses under the weight of her stare. Mr. Briggs, she says slowly, every syllable sharpened like a scalpel. Let me make one thing abundantly clear. In this courtroom, you are not in charge. Disrespect me again, and you won't enjoy where this proceeding goes next. The camera closes in on Tyler's face. The swagger is still there, but it's flickering, like a flame losing oxygen. He leans back, arms folded, jaw tight. Whatever. I'm just saying what everyone thinks. No, Judy replies, you're saying what you think, and you've made it very clear that your thoughts lack discipline. A soft murmur ripples through the audience, half awe, half anticipation. Miguel watches quietly, shoulders sinking as if he's been holding his breath for minutes. For the first time all morning, he looks like he might be safe. Judy shifts her attention back to the case. Mr. Torres, you mentioned a witness. Miguel nods. Yes, Your Honor. My neighbor, Mrs. Patel. She saw the argument and what he did to the mirror. Tyler's lip curls. Oh, great. Dragging other people into it. Figures. Judy doesn't acknowledge the comment. She looks toward the bailiff. Please bring in the witness. The bailiff steps out a side door. The courtroom hums with low tension, anticipation blending with anxiety. Tyler taps his foot again, but this time it's not confidence, it's agitation. Miguel glances sideways at him, then quickly faces forward, shoulders tightening. He knows that sound. He's heard it echo in hallways, in parking lots, outside his door. The bailiff returns with Mrs. Patel, a petite woman in her late 50s, holding her purse close to her body. Her eyes go immediately to Miguel, offering a nervous, supportive nod. But when she looks at Tyler, her face drains. She stiffens, steps falter, and the hand clutching her purse trembles. Judge Judy sees it. Good morning, Mrs. Patel, she says gently. Please have a seat. Mrs. Patel lowers herself into the witness chair. Her voice is barely audible. Good morning, Your Honor. Judy leans forward. Do you understand why you're here today? Yes, I saw what happened that night. Tyler smirks again, but this time it's a mask stretched too tightly over something raw. Mrs. Patel's hands shake visibly. Mrs. Patel, Judy continues softly, are you nervous? The witness swallows. A little. Why? Her eyes flick toward Tyler, just for an instant, enough to say everything. Tyler shifts, sits taller, smirk widening like a threat. Judy notices, her expression hardens. Mrs. Patel, she says, her tone turning to polished steel, you may speak freely in this courtroom. You are safe here. Do you understand? Mrs. Patel nods once, but her gaze drops to her lap. Tyler suddenly leans back, stretching casually, the picture of smug confidence, put on display for her benefit. A silent signal. Judy's eyes narrow, her instincts spark. Something is wrong. Mrs. Patel, she says, did Mr. Briggs speak to you before you entered this courtroom? The witness's breath catches. Tyler's smirk deepens, just enough for Judy to see it. Mrs. Patel's lips part, but no sound comes out. Tyler's boot taps, slow, deliberate, taunting. And Judy's voice drops to a low, dangerous whisper. Mrs. Patel, what did he say to you? Mrs. Patel's hands twist in her lap like they're trying to disappear. Tyler leans back with sharpened satisfaction, and Judge Judy's stare stays locked on the witness, unblinking, unmovable. The courtroom feels colder than a moment ago. Even the audience sits still, as if movement might shatter the fragile courage clinging to Mrs. Patel's trembling frame. "Mrs. Patel," Judge Judy says softly, "I asked you a question. Did Mr. Briggs speak to you before entering my courtroom today?" The witness forces a swallow. He just... She glances toward Tyler again. Her voice thins to a whisper. "He said it was better if I didn't make things dramatic." Judy raises a brow. "Dramatic," she repeats. "Interesting choice of word." Tyler scoffs. "Oh my God, I literally said nothing. She's making stuff up because Miguel put her up to this." Mrs. Patel flinches at his voice. Judy turns her head slowly, her expression a controlled blade. "Mr. Briggs, do not speak unless spoken to. If you interrupt this witness again, you and I will have a different problem entirely." Tyler's mouth snaps shut, though irritation flashes in his eyes like lightning behind clouds. Judy refocuses on Mrs. Patel. "Let's start from the beginning. Tell me what you saw on the night of the incident." Mrs. Patel hesitates, breathing unevenly. I was watering my plants on the balcony. Miguel and Tyler were arguing near the parking area." "What did you observe?" Judy asks, guiding her with calm precision. Tyler shifts aggressively in his chair. The sound makes Mrs. Patel jump. "I saw Tyler grab the side mirror," she finally says. "He pulled it hard, very hard, and then it snapped." The courtroom murmurs. Confirmation always hits differently when spoken aloud. Tyler blurts out, "That's a lie, that never..." Judy slams the gavel once. "Mr. Briggs, sit down." The sound hits like a gunshot. Tyler freezes, jaw tightening, but he obeys. Mrs. Patel's breathing steadies just enough to continue. Miguel tried to walk away, but Tyler followed him. He kept yelling, calling him names. Miguel's eyes drop. Shame flickers across his expression, old, familiar. Judy's voice softens, but the steel beneath it remains. "Mrs. Patel, did Tyler say anything to you on the night in question?" Mrs. Patel clutches her purse tighter. He told me to mind my own business when he saw me watching." Tyler smirks. "Because it wasn't her business." Judy's head snaps toward him. "That is not your decision to make." Mrs. Patel looks between them, heart pounding visibly in her chest. Then she adds, barely louder than a breath, And when I came in today, he said if I made a fuss, he'd remember it." The room inhales collectively, sharp and horrified. Miguel looks horrified, not surprised. Tyler looks furious, not ashamed. Judge Judy's expression turns cold enough to frost glass. "Mr. Briggs, threatening a witness is a serious accusation." Tyler jolts forward. "It wasn't a threat. I was just talking. People twist everything I say." His voice cracks, not with fear, but with panic disguised as anger. Judy watches him carefully, calculating, seeing deeper than his volume, catching the tremor he tries to hide. Then she turns to the bailiff. "Is the next witness present?" The bailiff nods. "Yes, Your Honor, waiting outside." Miguel stiffens, clearly knowing who it is. Tyler's face drops a fraction. Judy folds her hands. "Good. We will hear from them shortly." Mrs. Patel exhales shakily, relieved it's over. Tyler's knee bounces, wild, uncontrolled, and Judy, eyes narrowing, asks the question that freezes the room again. "Mrs. Patel, what exactly did he say before you walked in here?" Mrs. Patel's lips tremble, caught between fear and responsibility. Tyler's foot taps faster, no longer confident, just nervous. Judge Judy leans in, calm as a brewing storm. The room has gone pin-drop silent. Even the cameraman shifts slowly, as if afraid to disturb the air. Mrs. Patel inhales shakily. He told me, if you make a scene in there, I'll make one outside." Her voice cracks. "And he said it with this look, like he meant it." A ripple of shock rolls through the audience, quiet, horrified. Judge Judy's eyes sharpen. "Mr. Briggs, do you deny saying that?" Tyler shoots forward in his chair. "Obviously, she's twisting my words. I was just telling her not to exaggerate. Threatening a witness is not just talking," Judy cuts in. "And I decide what constitutes exaggeration in this room." Tyler slams back into his chair, jaw tight. This is ridiculous. But the flicker in his eyes says something else. He didn't expect Mrs. Patel to speak up. Miguel shifts in his seat, fingers tightening around the edges of his evidence folder. Judy notices. She always notices, and the softest change touches her expression. Not sympathy, recognition. This kind of fear doesn't grow from one argument. Mrs. Patel, Judy says gently. Thank you. You may step down. Mrs. Patel rises with visible relief, but the way she avoids eye contact with Tyler sends an unspoken truth across the room. This wasn't the first time he made her feel unsafe. As she exits, Judy turns back to Miguel. Mr. Torres, did Mr. Briggs ever make similar comments to you? Miguel hesitates. He opens his mouth, closes it, swallows. Your Honor. He's always loud. Tyler scoffs loudly. Oh, please. Quiet. Judy doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't have to. Miguel continues, eyes fixed on the table. But yeah, he cornered me once in the parking garage, asked if I wanted to make this bigger than it was. I didn't report it because I didn't want to, escalate things. Judy's face goes still, like a camera lens tightening its focus. Mr. Torres, she says evenly, intimidation is not escalation. It is abuse. Tyler half laughs, defensive and thin. You're all acting like I'm some villain. Miguel always plays scared. Miguel's jaw tightens, but the fear in his eyes says the comment hits a place he hoped no one would see. Judy turns. Mr. Briggs, this is not a playground. You do not get to bully your neighbors, threaten witnesses, and then feign innocence. That is not arrogance. She pauses, her gaze slicing through him. That is cowardice. The gallery murmurs at the word. Tyler's face reddens instantly. You don't know anything about me. I know exactly what you show me, Judy replies coldly, and what you've shown so far is deeply concerning. The tension thickens until it feels like the room is holding a collective breath. Then, Judy shifts her tone. Bailiff. Please bring in the hallway footage from the courthouse cameras this morning. Tyler's posture jerks. What footage? Judy barely glances at him. The footage showing your interaction with Mrs. Patel. The courtroom erupts in whispers. Footage means proof, and proof means no more hiding behind tone or swagger. Miguel looks up, startled, maybe even hopeful. Tyler swallows hard. That doesn't show anything. We'll let the video decide, Judy says. The bailiff steps out to retrieve the footage. Tyler's bravado drains by the second, and Judy, fingers steepled, waits with the patience of someone who already knows the truth will not be kind to him. The lights dim slightly as a monitor is rolled to the center of the courtroom. Tyler's breathing changes, shallow, rapid. Judge Judy's expression doesn't move an inch. The bailiff plugs in the feed and the screen flickers from static to a gray, grainy hallway. The quiet hum of the court's electronics fills the space like a second heartbeat. The camera pans out just enough to show Tyler shifting in his seat, restless, suddenly aware of how small he looks against the looming screen. Play it, Judy orders. The footage begins. Date stamp, time stamp. The courthouse hallway, early morning. Miguel sits upright, his eyes locked on the screen. Mrs. Patel, standing near the exit, discreetly wipes sweat from her palms. Even the audience leans forward unconsciously. There. Tyler enters the frame. He walks with that same swagger he brought into the courtroom. He spots Mrs. Patel and angles toward her. On screen, she visibly stiffens, clutching her purse like a shield. Then it happens. Tyler steps into her path. Not aggressively, no hand raised, but deliberately enough that she can't move around him without brushing against him. The audio on the courtroom speakers is muted, but the visual threat is unmistakable. He leans in, points once toward the courtroom doors, and then smirks. A ripple of discomfort spreads through the gallery. Miguel clenches his jaw. Mrs. Patel's eyes lower again. Judy watches, utterly still. Tyler's voice cracks as he tries to break the silence. That's nothing. That's literally nothing. Judy doesn't respond. Her eyes remain locked on the screen. The bailiff rewinds the moment in slow motion at her request. This time, every detail is amplified. The slight flinch from Mrs. Patel, the predatory angle of Tyler's shoulders, the way he invades her personal space, the gesture of a threatening finger pointed just inches from her face. It speaks louder than any audio could. Tyler shifts violently in his seat. You're blowing that out of proportion. I didn't touch her. Intimidation doesn't require contact, Judy says. It requires intent. Her tone is so sharp it could etch glass. The footage ends with Tyler walking away, his head shaking in irritation. Mrs. Patel waits a full 5 seconds before she moves again, her hesitation caught in crystal clear evidence. The screen goes black. Silence. Judy finally turns her gaze to Tyler. Mr. Briggs, this video shows behavior consistent with what Mrs. Patel described. He explodes. You don't know what I said. There's no sound. You're all guessing. The outburst echoes painfully across the courtroom. Judy lifts her chin slightly. Mr. Briggs, you seem very concerned about what we might hear. She turns to the bailiff. Do we have the enhanced audio yet? Tyler's head snaps toward the bailiff so fast the camera catches the panic in his eyes. Miguel's breath catches. The bailiff nods once. Yes, Your Honor. The technicians isolated a portion of the conversation. Tyler freezes. Judy gestures toward the screen. Then let's hear it. The courtroom dims. The speakers crackle to life. And just before the audio begins, Tyler whispers, audible only to Miguel, "This is bullsh." But his voice breaks, because he knows what's coming next will destroy the last piece of control he thought he had. Miguel glances at Tyler, fear flickering under his composure. A statement. From someone else, Tyler threatened. A hush swallows the room. Tyler's face drains of color. Miguel adds, "It's from a former neighbor." Judy leans back slightly, intrigued. "Clerk, bring me the additional statement." The clerk hurries to retrieve it from the evidence table. Tyler whispers under his breath, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me." The clerk places a thin folder before Judge Judy. Tyler's chest rises and falls too fast, panic at full boil, and Judy, flipping the folder open with surgical calm, says, "I think it's time we looked at your history, Mr. Briggs. All of it." Judge Judy lifts the thin folder as if it weighs 10 pounds. Tyler's eyes track it like prey watching a trap close. Miguel sits straighter, bracing for whatever finally breaks the dam. Judy opens the file. The pages are few, 3 at most, but their silence feels heavier than any stack of paperwork. She reads the first line, her expression shifting from curiosity to something colder. "Mr. Briggs," she begins, "this statement is from a previous small claims case filed against you last year." Tyler stiffens. "It was dismissed." "Yes," Judy replies. "It says here the plaintiff withdrew unexpectedly after receiving several late-night visits from you." A collective gasp echoes through the courtroom. Miguel's breath catches. Mrs. Patel cups her hand over her heart. Tyler forces a laugh, thin, brittle. "People withdraw cases all the time. Maybe he realized he was wrong." Judy's eyes narrow. "Or maybe he realized he was scared." She flips to the next page. This one is from 2 years ago. Different neighbor, different complaint, same outcome, withdrawn. Her voice slices through him like clean steel. "And the reason given?" "Too afraid to continue." Tyler slams back in his chair. "That's not proof. Anyone can write whatever they want in those things." "What matters," Judy says calmly, "is the pattern. A pattern that lines up quite neatly with what we have seen today." The courtroom hums with tension. Cameras zoom in on Tyler's reddening face, anger twisting into something more fragile. Fear. Miguel inhales deeply. This is the moment he's been holding back for years, the confirmation that his experience wasn't isolated, that the monster he faced had a long trail of victims behind him. Judy continues, "Mr. Briggs, your behavior today alone is concerning. But your history, it paints a far more alarming picture than a broken car mirror." Tyler snaps, "You're being dramatic. Stop." Judy's voice is a hammer. "When multiple people refuse to continue a case because of you, it is not drama, it is intimidation." Miguel watches Tyler closely. There's something unsettling about the way Tyler's jaw works, the way his foot taps fast enough to rattle the floor. Whatever tough exterior he arrived with is thinning to paper. Judy taps the folder lightly. "Mr. Torres, did you know about these prior incidents when you filed your complaint?" Miguel shakes his head. "No, I only learned about one recently. That's why I added the statement." "And why didn't you mention it earlier?" Miguel hesitates, his shoulders hunch slightly, as if speaking the truth might shatter the last of his composure. "Because I didn't want to seem like I was piling on. I just wanted the damage fixed. I didn't want to bring other people into it." Judy studies him, not with skepticism, but with a depth that suggests she sees something he's hiding, something he hasn't yet spoken aloud. Tyler leans forward suddenly, voice harsh. "You're all acting like I'm some criminal. These people were weak. I didn't do anything illegal." The audience gasps. Judy's brows rise, slow, lethal. "Weak?" she repeats. "Is that how you view the people you intimidate?" Tyler opens his mouth, but nothing comes out. His arrogance finally hits the wall of consequences. Judy leans back, folding her arms. "Mr. Briggs, one of your previous plaintiffs has agreed to speak to this court today." Tyler freezes. "What?" The side door opens. A young man steps inside, early 20s, shoulders tense, eyes haunted. Miguel recognizes him instantly. Tyler pales, and Judge Judy says with quiet finality, "Mr. Reese, please come forward." Daniel Reese steps inside like someone crossing a threshold he swore he'd never approach again. Tyler's posture snaps rigid, and Judge Judy watches them both with the focused calm of a surgeon preparing the first incision. Daniel moves slowly toward the witness stand, hands clenched, shoulders tight. He isn't timid. He's traumatized. Every step he takes is fueled by resolve rather than confidence. Miguel watches him with quiet recognition, the look of someone who knows exactly what fear Tyler Briggs can carve into a person. "Good morning, Mr. Reese," Judge Judy says. Daniel nods faintly. "Morning, Your Honor." Tyler scoffs under his breath. This is ridiculous. Judy doesn't even look at him. "Mr. Reese, I understand you previously filed a case against Mr. Briggs." Daniel sits, throat tightening. "Yeah, I did." "And you withdrew that case?" A long pause. Daniel takes a slow breath. "Yes, Your Honor." "Why?" He swallows hard. "Because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't walk to my car without looking over my shoulder. I couldn't handle him showing up near my place at night." The audience stiffens as if a cold wind has blown through. Tyler bursts out, "I never showed up anywhere. He's lying." Judy's voice slices through him like a razor. "Mr. Briggs, not another word." Daniel's gaze darts toward Tyler, just for an instant, but it's enough. In that brief flicker of eye contact, the entire courtroom sees it, the fear, the memory, the truth. Judy softens her tone slightly. "Tell me what happened." Daniel's breath shudders. "It started after I filed the complaint. He knocked on my door twice in the same week. Each time around midnight." Miguel lowers his eyes. He's heard those knocks too. Daniel continues. "He said things like, 'Drop it,' or 'Stop wasting time,' or 'Don't make me come back.' He'd smile while he said it, like it was funny." The camera catches Tyler's expression, panic barely disguised behind a mask of annoyance. "And did you report this to security?" Judy asks. Daniel nods. "I did, but I told them not to escalate it. I figured if I backed off, he'd leave me alone." Judy taps a pen lightly against the bench. "You didn't proceed with your case out of fear." Daniel nods again. "Yes, Your Honor." Tyler snaps, voice raised and cracking. "He's exaggerating. I never threatened anyone." Judy tilts her head. "Mr. Briggs, you are currently facing allegations from multiple people who have no relationship with one another except you. That alone is telling." Tyler clenches his jaw, eyes furious and wild. Daniel's hands shake slightly as he grips the sides of his chair. "I didn't want to come today, but when Miguel reached out, I knew I couldn't stay quiet again. I didn't want someone else to go through what I did." Miguel looks down, overwhelmed, because finally someone else understands. Judy breathes in slowly, then addresses Daniel with the gravity of a judge who has heard enough to form a picture. "Your testimony is important, Mr. Reese. Thank you." Daniel nods, voice barely audible. I just wanted to stop." Judy nods respectfully. "Step down." Daniel stands, but as he passes Tyler, the defendant mutters under his breath, voice low and venomous. "Snitch." Judy hears it. So does the entire courtroom. Judy freezes Daniel mid-step. Tyler looks like he's taken a swing at a hornet's nest, and Judge Judy's voice drops into lethal quiet. "Mr. Briggs, did you just intimidate another witness in front of me?" Daniel stops mid-stride, shoulders seizing as if Tyler's single word struck him physically. Tyler sits frozen, realizing, too late, that the courtroom heard him. Judge Judy's stare sharpens, not loud, not dramatic, just dangerously precise. The room goes utterly still. Mr. Briggs, she says, voice soft as a fuse, stand up. Tyler blinks. What? Why? Because when you mutter threats or slurs in my courtroom, you stand while I address them. The audience hums with an electric mixture of anticipation and disbelief. Miguel's breath catches. Mrs. Patel covers her mouth. Daniel stares at the floor like force of habit. Slowly, resistantly, Tyler rises. Judy continues, tone slow and deliberate. Did you, or did you not, call that witness a snitch as he walked by? Tyler's jaw tightens. It wasn't like that. Answer the question. It wasn't a threat, his voice cracks, panic pushing through the anger. It was just, I don't know, a comment. Intended to demean, to belittle, to frighten. Judy taps her finger against the bench. Patterns, Mr. Briggs. You're becoming very predictable. Tyler swallows hard. The bravado is thinning fast. Judy turns her gaze to Daniel. Mr. Reese, you may return to your seat. Daniel nods gratefully and slips into the gallery, shoulders still shaking from the confrontation. Miguel watches him sit, seeing himself in every tremor. Mr. Torres, Judy says, turning her focus with a gravity that fills the room. You seemed surprised when I asked whether Mr. Briggs ever threatened you directly. Why? Miguel's throat tightens. He glances at Tyler, only a heartbeat but enough to reveal the fear he's been hiding. Judy notices. Mr. Torres, look at me. Not him. Miguel steadies his breath. Your Honor, I wasn't completely honest earlier. Tyler's head jerks. What now? Judy ignores him. Go on, Mr. Torres. Miguel's fingers twist the papers in front of him. The night of the mirror wasn't the only time he confronted me. The courtroom leans in, an instinctive pull toward truth. Miguel continues, voice tense. A week later, he followed me to my building. I tried to ignore him, but he sped up. He got in front of my door before I could close it. Tyler rolls his eyes. Oh, please. Quiet, Judy snaps without looking at him. Miguel swallows. He pounded on the door, hard. He yelled that I was asking for trouble and that people like me should know better. The phrase hangs heavy, coded, cruel, intentional. A murmur spreads, a tremor of outrage from the audience. Judy leans back slightly, anger sharpened to icy restraint. Mr. Torres, why wasn't this included in your initial filing? Miguel hesitates, voice cracking for the first time. Because I didn't want to look scared. Judy's expression softens just enough to show she hears the weight behind the words. But you were. Miguel nods, slowly, shamefully. Tyler scoffs, but the sound is hollow now. He's lying. He wants to make me look like some kind of psycho. Judy turns on him, voice controlled but scorching. Mr. Briggs, no one needs to make you look like anything. You're doing an excellent job all by yourself. Tyler's mouth snaps shut. Judy returns her gaze to Miguel. Thank you for telling the truth. Miguel exhales, a release he's been holding in for months, but Judy isn't finished. She flips to a new page, something she hasn't revealed yet. Mr. Torres, she says quietly, there's one detail I need you to clarify. In your hallway statement to security, you wrote something additional. Miguel's eyes widen, fear, guilt, something unspoken. Tyler senses it too. His face drains. Judy continues, her voice steady and probing. You wrote that Mr. Briggs shouted something else at your door that night, something personal, something that made you fear for more than just your property. Miguel closes his eyes. Yes, Your Honor. What did he say? Miguel opens his mouth, hesitation trembling through him, and the truth he's about to release will change everything. The courtroom leans forward in unison. Tyler's breathing spikes, and Miguel whispers, voice cracking. He said, but the rest catches in his throat, leaving every soul in the courtroom suspended on the edge of the truth. Miguel's voice trembles in the hollow stillness. Judge Judy leans forward, eyes narrowing with recognition. Tyler's fingers curl into fists, the mask slipping further with every heartbeat. The courtroom waits, breath held, bones tense, as Miguel forces the rest of the sentence out of his lungs. He said, "People like you should watch their backs. You don't belong here." A stunned silence hits like a wave. It's not just a threat. It's targeted, personal, cruel. Mrs. Patel gasps, one hand flying to her chest. Daniel flinches, recognizing the same brand of venom he once endured. Even the bailiff's jaw tightens, muscle jumping beneath calm discipline. Tyler shakes his head rapidly. He's twisting it. That's not what I meant. He knows that's not what I meant. Judy's gaze slices through him. Then enlighten me, Mr. Briggs. What exactly did you mean when you told him he didn't belong in his own home? Tyler stutters, something he hasn't done all day. I meant he doesn't belong in my business. I didn't mean like that. But you followed him, Judy replies, voice razor thin. You pounded on his door. You shouted threats. You cornered him outside his apartment. And then you cloaked it in vague language designed to intimidate while giving you plausible deniability. Tyler's jaw works, but no words escape. Miguel exhales, shaky and raw. I didn't include it in the report because I didn't want to look weak. I didn't want to be the guy who complains about harassment and discrimination. I just wanted the whole nightmare to stop. Judy studies him, something unspoken softening her stern exterior. Mr. Torres, strength is not silence. Strength is telling the truth despite fear. Miguel lowers his head, tears threatening but contained. The room feels heavier now, charged, serious, no longer just about a broken mirror or nasty comments. Something deeper has been exposed. Tyler's weapon isn't just intimidation. It's targeted cruelty, precision bullying, personalized assault. Mr. Torres, Judy continues, tell me what happened after he pounded on your door. Miguel's voice comes out small. I called building security. They told me they'd send someone, but by the time they arrived, he'd left. Did security file a report? Yes, but I begged them not to escalate it. I didn't want to make him angrier. All eyes drift to Tyler. He looks suddenly smaller, swallowed by the enormity of what he's done and what's finally being spoken aloud. Judy's eyebrow arches. Mr. Briggs, do you realize what your actions caused? You made a grown man afraid to enter his own home. Tyler's voice is barely audible. He's exaggerating. Judy slams the gavel once, just once, but the crack thunders through the room. That's enough. Even the walls seem to recoil. You have intimidated multiple neighbors. You have a history of using threats, tone, and presence to force people into silence, and you brought that same attitude into my courtroom, as though intimidation is a universal language. Tyler's breathing quickens. His foot taps uncontrollably now, nothing like the confident thumps from earlier. This is nervous energy, fear, exposure. Miguel wipes his palms on his jeans, steadying himself. Judy nods at him, a subtle, silent affirmation that his truth matters. Then she turns her attention to the bailiff. Bring me the write-up from building security, the one from Mr. Torres's report. Tyler jolts. What? Why? Because, Judy says, I want the full picture before I deliver consequences. The bailiff steps out, leaving the courtroom in weighted silence. Tyler sinks into his chair, panic eating through the last of his defiance. Miguel exhales shakily, bracing for the next reveal. And Judy's voice, cool and unwavering, echoes across the room. We are far from finished, Mr. Briggs. The bailiff re-enters with a folded report in hand. Tyler's shoulders tense like a man awaiting a verdict he already knows won't favor him. Judge Judy's expression turns surgical, measured, calm, and devastatingly precise. The bailiff hands her the document. Judy doesn't rush. She opens it with the slow intentionality of someone peeling back the final layer of a long-hidden truth. The camera zooms gently, catching the subtle shift in her brow as she reads. Mr. Briggs, she begins, this security report confirms Mr. Torres's account. It states you were seen following him into the hallway at 11:42 p.m., shouting aggressively, and that he appeared shaken and afraid. Tyler sinks a little lower in his chair. His bravado is collapsing in pieces, one shattered fragment at a time. Judy continues, voice level but heavy. It also states that when the security guard approached, you left quickly. And when asked the next day if you had spoken with Mr. Torres, you replied, and I quote, just giving him a reminder about how things work around here. Miguel closes his eyes, the memory washing over him. Mrs. Patel shakes her head, horrified. Daniel's jaw tightens. Tyler explodes. It wasn't a threat. I was just, ugh, you're blowing this way out of proportion. Proportion? Judy repeats, voice silken and dangerous. Mr. Briggs, 3 separate people have testified to being intimidated by you. That is not proportion. That is pattern. Tyler's face twists with defensiveness. Everyone's acting like I'm some villain. Miguel started all this. He made it bigger than it was. Miguel flinches but doesn't look away this time. Judy leans forward, eyes like twin searchlights. No, Mr. Briggs, you made it bigger. Every step of the way. Tyler opens his mouth, but Judy lifts a finger. Silence falls instantly. You escalated a minor argument into property damage. You escalated that into threats, into harassment, into following people home, into intimidating witnesses, and then into disrespecting this court. Tyler's breathing turns fast, shallow. His heel taps wildly under the table, rhythm unsteady. He looks like he's shrinking inside his own skin, the cost of months or years of unchecked arrogance catching up with him all at once. Miguel watches, something shifting in his posture. It's not triumph, not even vindication, it's release. The quiet realization that he is finally being heard. Judy turns those razor eyes toward Tyler. You have used fear as a tool. But fear, she says, voice softening into something unexpectedly profound, is a poor substitute for strength. Bullies often mistake intimidation for power, but real power, real authority, requires responsibility. Tyler's eyes flicker. For the first time since walking into the courtroom, he looks lost. He tries one last defense, voice cracking. I didn't mean to scare anyone. I just didn't want people messing with me. And why? Judy asked gently. Did you assume they were? Tyler blinks, stunned, exposed. A beat passes before he answers. Because that's how it's always been. People push, and if you don't push back harder, you get walked on. It's not an excuse. It's a confession, raw and revealing. Judy nods slowly, not in agreement, in understanding. Perhaps, but you stopped pushing back and started pushing down. And that is where you cross the line. The weight of her words settles like a final stone on his collapsing defenses. Tyler slumps into his chair, hands limp, eyes downcast. His collapse isn't dramatic. It's quiet, defeated, the slow unraveling of someone who finally understands he's not invincible. Judy glances at the clock, then taps her pen once, sharp, decisive. We'll take a short recess, she announces. I need to review final details before I deliver my decision. The gavel strikes. Tyler stares at the table, hollowed out, and as the courtroom empties, Miguel wonders whether justice is about to come swiftly or whether the worst is still waiting on the other side of recess. The courtroom door swings open after recess, and a hush falls instantly, heavy, anticipatory. Tyler returns to his seat with shoulders caved inward. Judge Judy steps back onto the bench with the controlled certainty of someone ready to deliver judgment. The gavel hasn't even sounded yet, and the tension is already taut enough to snap. Judy settles into her seat, adjusts her glasses, and looks directly at Tyler. Not angry, not outraged, just resolute, like the storm has passed and now only truth remains. Mr. Briggs, she begins, voice steady, this court has heard enough testimony, enough evidence to form a very clear picture of your behavior. Tyler swallows hard. The tapping foot is gone. Now his leg simply trembles beneath the desk. Miguel watches him carefully, his own breath tight but hopeful. Daniel and Mrs. Patel sit in the gallery, both leaning forward, as if needing to witness the moment he finally faces what he's done. Judy continues. We are not dealing with a single incident. We are dealing with a pattern of intimidation, harassment, and emotional coercion. Tyler's lips part, instinctive, ready to argue, but no sound comes out. The fight in him has drained into something hollow. Judy lifts the folder of evidence. You have harassed your neighbors, threatened them, followed them, mocked them, intimidated them, and then, when confronted with your own actions, you tried to bully your way through this courtroom. Her tone sharpens. Let me be clear. Bullying does not work here. A soft murmur ripples through the audience. Tyler stares at his hands. He no longer looks like the swaggering young man who strolled in with a smirk and weaponized confidence. He looks like someone seeing himself clearly for the first time and not liking what he finds. Miguel shifts, gathering courage he didn't think he'd feel again. Judy notices and addresses him gently. Mr. Torres. Miguel meets her gaze. Yes, Your Honor. You have shown remarkable restraint, and more fear than anyone should have to carry in their own home. Miguel's eyes sting, but he nods. She turns back to Tyler. You created that fear. Tyler flinches, not from anger, but from the truth. Judy exhales, slow, final. Before I issue my ruling, Mr. Briggs, do you have anything you'd like to say? A long, painful pause. Tyler opens his mouth, closes it, tries again. His voice cracks when it finally escapes. I didn't realize I was doing all that. I thought, if I didn't push first, people would walk all over me. Judy shakes her head. Fear isn't strength, and intimidation isn't protection. They are excuses, harmful ones. Tyler blinks rapidly. The sheen in his eyes hinting at something unspoken, guilt maybe, or the dawning realization that his version of survival has broken others. But, Judy continues, none of this negates the harm you've caused. She folds her hands over the bench. The entire courtroom leans in. In a moment, she says, I will deliver my ruling. It will address the financial damages, the harassment, and your conduct in this courtroom. Tyler's breath stutters. Miguel grips the edge of the plaintiff's table. Mrs. Patel whispers something like a prayer. And Mr. Briggs, Judy adds, her tone chilling, what comes next will follow you beyond this courtroom. Judy lifts the gavel, high, deliberate. Tyler squeezes his eyes shut, and the entire courtroom braces as she says, Here is my decision. Judge Judy holds the gavel aloft, suspended, symbolic, final. Tyler looks small for the first time since entering the courtroom. Miguel sits absolutely still, bracing for a verdict that feels far bigger than dollars or damages. The gavel lowers with a sharp, decisive strike. Here is my ruling. The room goes silent. No murmurs, no shuffling. Even the cameras seem to steady themselves. Judy begins with the simplest part. First, on the issue of property damage. Mr. Briggs, you are responsible for the destruction of Mr. Torres's side mirror. You will pay the full repair cost of $438.52. Tyler nods, barely, but he nods. A crack in the armor, but Judy isn't finished, not even close. Second, she continues, your conduct, both the night of the incident and in the weeks following, constitutes harassment and intimidation. This court will impose additional civil penalties. Miguel's breath trembles. Tyler's head lifts in alarm. You will reimburse Mr. Torres an additional $2,200, Judy says, for emotional distress directly resulting from your actions. Tyler's eyes widen. What? That's... Quiet, she snaps. You've spoken enough today. He shuts his mouth immediately. Judy flips the folder closed. Third, your behavior toward witnesses in this courtroom, Mrs. Patel and Mr. Reese, was wholly inappropriate and deeply concerning. While this court cannot pursue criminal charges, I will be submitting a detailed report to the network's legal department and the local authorities. Tyler stiffens. This hits harder than any fine. That report, Judy adds calmly, will include the hallway footage, the audio recording, and your conduct in this courtroom today. Miguel's eyes widen. Mrs. Patel exhales as though a weight has finally been lifted. Daniel closes his eyes, relief washing through the rigidity he walked in with. Tyler tries to speak, but the words stumble out broken. You're reporting me? I am, Judy says, voice steady and resolute, because intimidation does not end simply because a civil case concludes. It tends to repeat unless confronted decisively. Tyler looks down at his hands, defeated, unraveling. For the first time, he seems to feel the full scope of his actions and the consequences spiraling outward from them. And lastly, Judy says, leaning forward, you will apologize to Mr. Torres, not for my sake, not for the court's sake, for his. Tyler's jaw trembles. For a long moment, he doesn't speak. Miguel doesn't look at him, doesn't want to force anything, but the courtroom waits, suspended. Finally, in a voice stripped bare, Tyler says, Miguel, I'm sorry. It's shaky, imperfect, full of cracks, but it's real. Miguel nods once, eyes wet but steady. Thank you. Judy straightens, satisfied, not with the apology, but with the truth finally spoken aloud. This court is adjourned. The gavel strikes one last time, echoing with finality, justice, and something quieter beneath it. Closure. Miguel lets out a breath that seems to release months of fear. Mrs. Patel smiles, small but genuine. Daniel stands a little taller. Tyler remains seated, staring at the floor, not smirking, not mocking, not defiant, just confronted. By consequences, by truth, by himself. As the courtroom empties, Judy gathers her files. Before she leaves, she casts one last look at Tyler, a silent reminder that authority is not loud, but firm, and when wielded with precision, it changes everything.